Well, the local market testing records despite Wall Street stocks ending lower on growing concerns about an economic slowdown indicated by the recent soft jobs data. Tony Sycamore from IG joining me now. Great to see you, Tony. And we've cracked 8,800 on the ASX200.
What a day to be on the show, Jules. I mean, this has been building over the past couple of weeks. In mid-July, we spiked up to the high around 87.76 and then really spent 2.5 weeks consolidating above 8,600. Had a very strong day yesterday, finished up over 110 points, and we've seen the follow-through coming into fruition this morning with it busting above 8,800. But you can see there on the chart the consolidation which we saw over the past 2.5 weeks, absolutely rock solid, even despite the sell-off on Wall Street on Friday night. It just wasn't even registering on the ASX200's radar on Monday, and it did sort of show that when a market doesn't go down on bad news, and it's probably going up, and that's exactly what's happened. So for me, it looks like we can push on higher up towards 88.50 in the sessions ahead.
All right, let's get to what we're seeing on Wall Street and that Elliott wave we've been watching on the NASDAQ. It looks like there could be a bit of a correction.
Jules, we've been exploring this chart for quite some time, talking about the fact we had 3 waves in place and we like to see 5 waves in the Elliott wave framework. So the wave 3 appears to have finished at last Friday night's sell-off. Now that came against very significant weekly trend channel resistance. So I like the fact that you get that big red candle at the top there, and then you've seen it also coming from the trend channel resistance on the weekly charts, which we mentioned. So we do know the buy the dip crowd has been active, but ideally would like to see just an orderly pullback. I mean, this has been an incredible rally since those lows, and just an orderly pullback somewhere back towards 22,000 initially, with scope back towards 21,500. And for me, that's probably a really nice level to reload longs in the NASDAQ. You're still getting the growth in AI, and that's where I'd be looking to buy the NASDAQ. So that's where I'm seeing it at this point of time.
What's happening with oil? A 4th session of decline. So this is all on OPEC Plus, right?
It is, yeah. The announcement of 547,000 million barrels per day coming in September certainly it was, I guess, in the winds at the end of last week, and it's certainly offsetting the news there of potential secondary tariffs on Russian oil from particularly India that Donald Trump is talking about. But I just don't like the way that it managed to bounce and then it's come back towards that $64 level. For me, that's not great price action. I think this is waiting to break lower, and if it does break that $64 support, then I think you've probably got a quick $4 to $5 back into the high 50s, low 60s there, just waiting to unfold.
Well, we're talking about potentially faster, deeper Fed cuts too. So what's the outlook for gold?
Well, that's a great environment for gold. And when you look at the price action there in gold, it's been consolidating over the past 2 months between 34.50. It's had a couple of goes at that resistance level, rejected it, but it held on this pullback into the end of last week, support coming in around 32.45, which was the June and July lows. And then you had that soft non-farm payrolls data, and then of course a very mixed ism PM services PMI print overnight, which suggests continue or more signs of slowing, if you like. And gold is now making its way back up towards that 34.50 area. And if it does crack 34.50, then the next stop is that record high at 3,500. So it's really in a consolidation phase here, a correction phase, but just waiting for that push higher, I believe.
All right. Now, when we look at digital gold, it's been testing records as well. What are we seeing with Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, we've seen a number of these orderly pullbacks over the course of this year. You can see it's in a pennant there. It is orderly. It is corrective. We spoke about the one during the 12-day war, which unfolded there down to that 98,000 low. And again, we're seeing it. So you have to allow these corrections to play out. And sometimes they last a little bit longer than you would expect. But the price action is largely bullish. I mean, it traded up to that record high. It's now consolidating, correcting. It's hit the logical target. The logical target was that 112,000 record high. A bounce from there, but the bounce so far hasn't been overly encouraging in terms of looking like the correction's over. So for me, it is forming a correction. It is in a corrective phase, but it may come back to 100,000 before we take that next leg higher. And there is some significant monthly trend channel resistance sitting up at 125,000.
All right, let's get to the Aussie because, of course, we have got some trade data coming through today. But where's the Aussie sitting in terms of what we're seeing with that Fed likelihood?
Yeah, I mean, it looked down and out into the end of last week. It was testing trend channel support, the trend channel, the flag, whatever you'd like to call it. It's been in that holding pattern for 3.5 months, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, if you like. And as I mentioned, Thursday, it looked like it was about to fall through the bottom of that support, coming in around 64.20 to 6400. And it fortunately was saved by that soft employment data in the US. And here we are now. We're just waiting for more information from the US as to who President Trump's choice of the new BLS head will be and the new Fed chair head. And also with regards to, we do have a governor which he needs to replace on the FOMC board. So there's a lot of news waiting to come out that will drive the US dollar. It really means that you've just got to be very mindful that the Aussie dollar has some very important support below around that 64.20 to 64 cent level. It needs to hold above there to get back up towards the top of that trend channel resistance. It could easily do it. I mean, there's a lot of news headlines we're going to see that can drive the US dollar and the Aussie dollar. And that's just something which probably will play out into the back end of this week. So one to keep an eye out on.